Most people think they've experienced Disney World, but the truth is, they've only seen about half of what's actually going on. Because hidden all around the parks are things Disney never points out, never explains, and quietly hopes you don't notice. There's a secret goodbye show that happens after the park closes, a real message from Walt Disney hidden in plain sight, and even subtle tricks that control where you walk, where you look, and how long you stay. And once you start noticing these, you'll never experience Disney the same way again. Today, I'm going to be going through 10 new Disney World secrets never told to guests. And trust me, the last one isn't just a secret. It changes how the entire park actually works. Number 1. The Kiss Goodnight almost nobody stays for. You'd think the day at Magic Kingdom ends when the park closes, the rides shut down, the shops start pulling their shutters, and thousands of people all head straight for the exit at the exact same time. But here's what most guests don't realize. Disney actually saves one final moment for the people who don't leave. About 20 to 30 minutes after closing, when the crowds have thinned out and Main Street is almost empty, something quietly happens in front of Cinderella Castle. The lights begin to soften, the music changes, and suddenly the entire atmosphere feels completely different. This is called the Kiss Goodnight. It's a short, gentle show where the castle slowly glows, soft music plays, and a narrator thanks guests for visiting, almost like Disney is personally saying goodbye. And the craziest part? It's not listed in the schedule. It's not announced clearly. And most people have no idea it even exists, so they leave and completely miss it. But if you stay, you get something most people don't. A near-empty view of the castle, no crowds pushing past you, and a calm, almost emotional ending to the day. And there's a bonus most people don't think about. By waiting just a little longer, you also avoid the massive exit rush, meaning shorter lines for transport, less stress, and a much easier way to end your night. It's one of the simplest secrets in Disney World. But once you experience it, you'll never rush out at closing again. Number 2, the secret Morse code message almost everyone walks past. Right at the entrance of Magic Kingdom, before you even step onto Main Street, there's a detail that almost nobody notices. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. As you walk under the train station, listen closely. You'll hear a faint clicking sound, like an old telegraph machine tapping away in the background. Most people think it's just random noise, part of the atmosphere. But it's not. It's actually sending a real message in Morse code. And what it's saying isn't random either. It's a hidden tribute to Walt Disney himself. The message is a version of Walt's original Disneyland dedication speech, the one that begins with, "To all who come to this happy place, welcome." So right there, above your head, as you walk into the park, Disney is literally welcoming you, in Walt's own words, but almost nobody stops long enough to notice it. They're too busy scanning tickets, rushing through the gates, or heading straight for rides. And that's what makes this one so special. It's not hidden behind a door. It's not part of a tour. It's just sitting there, in plain sight, quietly playing all day. Next time you walk in, stop for a few seconds. Stand still, listen carefully, and you'll realize you've probably walked past one of the coolest details in Disney World without ever knowing it was there. Number 3. The truth about Disney's underground tunnels isn't what people think. If you've ever heard people talk about Disney World, you've probably heard this one before. There's a massive network of tunnels under the parks. And usually, it gets described like some huge underground city stretching everywhere. But the reality is very different. First, the tunnels aren't actually deep underground. In Magic Kingdom, they're built at ground level. And that's because Florida has a very high water table, meaning if Disney tried to dig down, it would basically flood. So instead, Disney built the tunnels first, then built the entire park on top of them, which means when you're walking down Main Street, you're actually on the second level. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Those tunnels, called utilidors, aren't some magical hidden world. They're completely practical. Cast members use them to move around the park without being seen, so you never see a cowboy walking through Tomorrowland or a pirate cutting across Fantasyland. It keeps the story of each area perfectly intact. But despite what people say, there's no secret jail down there. No cast members living underground, no hidden guest access areas. It's basically a behind-the-scenes highway, with break rooms, storage, and operations running the park. And here's the key thing most people don't realize. Without those tunnels, Disney wouldn't feel like Disney. You'd constantly see the illusion break. So, even though you'll probably never walk through them, they're one of the biggest reasons the magic feels so real when you're above ground. Number 4, you're not allowed to sit where you think you can. This one catches a lot of people off guard because Disney feels relaxed. You're walking around, finding a spot, trying to get comfortable, especially during fireworks or parades. So naturally, you see a ledge, a curb, a low wall, and you think, that'll do? But here's the problem. In Disney World, just because it looks like a place to sit doesn't mean you're allowed to. And sooner or later, a cast member will come over and ask you to stand up, especially at night. During fireworks, Disney is really strict about this. Guests sitting on the ground in walkways or open areas create a huge safety issue once the lights go down and thousands of people start moving at the same time. It becomes a tripping hazard instantly. That's why you'll notice something strange once you pay attention. Actual seating in Disney is very obvious. Benches are clearly designed, with armrests, spacing, and structure. But anything else? Curbs, planter edges, railings, decorative walls. They're not meant for sitting at all. Some of them aren't even built to hold weight properly. And here's the part most people don't realize. This is all intentional. Disney designs the park to control how crowds move, where you stop, where you stand, where you don't. So if everyone starts sitting in random places, it completely disrupts that flow, which is why cast members step in quickly, even if it seems harmless. So the simple rule is this. If it doesn't clearly look like a bench, don't sit on it. Because in Disney, even something as small as where you sit is part of a much bigger system you don't even notice. Number 5, the color Disney uses to make things disappear. There are parts of Disney World you walk past all day, but somehow you never actually notice them. Not because they're hidden, but because your brain just ignores them. And that's exactly what Disney wants. All around the parks, there are doors, fences, buildings, speakers, even entire show structures, painted in a very specific color scheme known as go-away green. And it's not just one color. It's a mix of dull greens, grays, and browns, carefully chosen to blend perfectly with trees, plants in the background. So instead of standing out, they visually fade away. For example, massive buildings, like the ones housing big attractions, are often painted in this color so they don't ruin the view. Backstage doors, same thing. Maintenance areas, blended in. Even things like speakers and poles are painted this way. And once you know about it, you start seeing it everywhere. But here's the interesting part. Before you knew this, your brain was already filtering it out. Because Disney doesn't just build rides. They design what you focus on. Bright colors, castles, attractions, those pull your attention in. Everything else gets quietly pushed into the background. And that's what makes the parks feel so immersive. You're only seeing what Disney wants you to see. So next time you're walking through the park, start looking for that dull green color. Because once you notice it, you'll realize just how much Disney has been hiding in plain sight this entire time. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this so far and you're starting to see Disney in a completely different way, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Because most people visit the parks without ever noticing these details. And once you do, it honestly changes the whole experience. And we're only halfway through. The next few secrets get even more surprising. Number 6, the free things Disney doesn't advertise. Disney World has a reputation for being expensive. And it is. But what most guests don't realize is that there are actually quite a few things you can get for free inside the parks. Disney just doesn't go out of its way to tell you. For example, if you walk up to almost any quick service restaurant and ask for a cup of ice water, they'll give it to you completely free. No purchase needed. And on a hot Florida day, that alone can save you a surprising amount of money. But it doesn't stop there. You can also get free celebration buttons. First visit, birthday, anniversary, just walk into guest services or certain shops and ask. Cast members will often go out of their way to make your day feel special once you're wearing one. There are also small, easy-to-miss experiences. like kid-friendly scavenger hunts in areas like Epcot, where children can explore different countries and collect stamps or complete simple activities. Again, completely free. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. Sometimes if you're polite and patient, cast members can even sprinkle in little magic moments. It might be a free treat, a better seat, or a small unexpected upgrade. Not guaranteed, but it does happen. And the key difference is this. Most people walk straight past all of this. They assume everything costs money. So they never even think to ask. But once you know what's available, you can start getting a lot more out of your day without spending anything extra. And that's one of those small advantages that can quietly make your whole trip better. Number 7. The second fireworks experience most people never try. When it comes to Disney fireworks, almost everyone does the same thing. They head straight to the front of the castle, stand shoulder to shoulder with thousands of other people, and wait, sometimes for over an hour, just to get a good view. And yes, that's the classic experience. But it's not the only one, because there's a completely different way to watch the fireworks. And most people never even think to try it. Instead of standing in front of Cinderella Castle, go behind it. Head into Fantasyland, near areas like Beast's Castle or Enchanted Tales with Belle, and watch from there. And the difference is huge. Instead of everything happening in front of you, fireworks are going off all around you, above you, behind you, sometimes even closer than you'd expect. It feels less like you're watching a show, and more like you're inside it. And here's the big advantage. Way fewer crowds. While the front fills up early, the area behind the castle often stays relatively open until much closer to showtime, which means less waiting, less stress, and a much more relaxed experience. Now, there is one trade-off. You won't get the full projection show on the castle the same way you would from the front, but if you've already seen it once, or you just want something different, this can actually be the better experience. And when the show ends, you're already away from the biggest crowd. So instead of being stuck in a slow-moving sea of people, you can move on quicker, ride something nearby, or leave without the chaos. It's one of those simple changes. That completely transforms one of the busiest moments of your entire day. Number 8, cast members are controlling more than you realize. When you're walking through Disney World, it feels natural, like everything is just happening. People moving around, music playing, crowds flowing from one area to another. But behind the scenes, a lot more is being controlled than you think. So cast members aren't just there to answer questions or operate rides. They're constantly managing the entire environment around you. For example, crowd flow. If an area starts getting too busy, cast members may quietly redirect guests, slow people down, or guide them toward less crowded paths, without you even realizing it's happening. Then there's timing, parades, shows, even background music, all carefully coordinated so crowds shift at the right moments. It's not random. It's designed to spread people out across the park. And here's something even more subtle. Scent. Yes, Disney actually uses smell in certain areas to influence your experience. Main Street often has that fresh bakery scent in the air. Popcorn smells seem to drift further than they should. And it's all intentional. It draws people in, creates comfort, and even encourages you to stop or spend more time in certain areas. And the reason most guests don't notice any of this? Because it's meant to feel invisible. You're supposed to feel like you're just naturally exploring. But in reality, you're being gently guided the entire time. Not in a bad way, but in a very carefully designed way. And once you start paying attention, you'll realize Disney isn't just creating rides. They're quietly controlling the entire experience around you. Number 9, Disney controls what you see, and you don't even realize it. When you walk through Disney World, it feels open, like you can look anywhere, go anywhere, explore freely. But in reality, almost everything you see has been carefully planned in advance. Disney uses something called forced perspective. It's a design trick where buildings are made to look bigger or smaller than they actually are. For example, Cinderella Castle isn't as tall as it looks. The lower sections are built larger, and the upper sections are scaled down. So your brain reads it as being much taller than it really is. The same thing happens all over the park. Windows get smaller, higher up. Details shrink as they go up. Even the spacing between features is adjusted, all to create an illusion. But it's not just about size, it's also about what you don't see. Disney carefully blocks sightlines so you don't accidentally see something that breaks the theme. You won't see Tomorrowland from Frontierland. You won't see backstage areas from guest paths. Trees, buildings, and pathways are all placed to control your view. Even the way paths curve is designed so you don't see too far ahead. You're always discovering things step by step. And here's the key point. You feel like you're choosing where to look. But Disney has already decided what you're going to notice and what you're not, which is why everything feels so immersive, because nothing is left to chance. Every angle, every view, every detail is guiding your experience without you ever realizing it. Number 10. Disney quietly changes things overnight, and most guests never notice. You could visit Disney World one year, come back the next, and swear everything feels the same. Same rides, same layout, same experience. But here's the truth. Things are constantly changing, and most of it happens so subtly, you'd never even notice. Disney is always tweaking the parks behind the scenes. Small layout adjustments, queue changes, pathways slightly rerouted, ride loading areas refined. Even things like where people tend to stand, walk, or stop are studied and adjusted over time. And a lot of these changes happen overnight. Literally, guests leave, work happens. And by the next morning, something is slightly different. Not enough to stand out, but enough to improve flow, reduce congestion, or guide behavior more effectively. And that's the key. Disney doesn't wait for big problems. They constantly fine-tune the experience in small, almost invisible ways, which is why the parks feel so smooth, even when they're packed. But here's what's really interesting. You might feel like something is better or easier on your next visit, without ever knowing why, because the system has been quietly improved around you. And once you realize that, you start to see Disney in a completely different way. It's not just a theme park. It's something that's constantly evolving right in front of you, without you even noticing it.